Hello friends. We all during the time of development need to make use of GPT or AI platform for taking help, or even in some of our client projects we have to seek API for connecting the application with the AI. But all these are server based, and we also know that for each of these API we have to pay a subscription, and that subscription amount is not less at all. So if we can think about another alternative, like without taking the help of cloud based API, can we think about doing something in local environment? And that's the reason why this particular video is all about. My concept of this particular application is to seek AI, to take help from AI, or to implement AI, but not having any internet dependency. I don't want to use any third-party tool for sharing my data, and I don't want to deploy the data in the cloud because of privacy reason. I don't want subscription, nor I want API key in form of Google Gemini or OpenAI. So my whole application will not be cloud based, rather it will be local environment based. And that brings us to a very wonderful concept which Microsoft has provided in regard to the model Phi-3 Mini. So Phi-3 Mini has been developed by Microsoft, keeping in view the different aspects like going for reasoning, going for classification, and how do you structure your thought in regard to the data that you are providing. So it is very analytical in concept that this particular model has been prepared by Microsoft. But the good part about this is that this is going to work in regard to any ordinary system. What do I mean by ordinary system? Well, the system that does not have a graphics card. So that means you don't have to run this system or this particular model in a hi-fi application, hardware based, or a game based laptop. You don't need this, and that's the reason why Microsoft have provided GGUF format, which is basically a binary format, and it is meant to work for AI application in regard to the local environment. So these are some important factors that I was considering, and for that reason I was doing my research on this, and finally I have able to deploy my application in the local system, and the system is running quite smoothly. But yes, of course, since there is a issue of having limited RAM, limited graphics card, or maybe you don't have even a graphics card, so there might be a slight time taking in context to the response coming from the model. But apart from that, there is no subscription, and that is definitely, I believe, is going to play a very crucial role, because you are not paying a single penny for that, and there is no limited access like within a particular hour you have to access this much amount of data. Is not like that. It's totally flexible, and for that reason you have to do some fine tuning, which I have done, and finally I have been able to deploy an application that is running in my local system. And I can show you, this is the server that I'm using, and the model which I already said Phi-3 by Microsoft, and to connect my model I'm using llama-server. So llama-server I'm using, which is connecting to the model, and I have also got my Django server running, which is going to take data from the user, and on basis of that it will pass on to the llama server, and the llama will feed the data to the model, and the model will do the reasoning part, the clarification part, and then it will forward the data back to my application. So here you can see a text area, and here I'm supposed to give the input, and for saving my time I have taken 5 different sample studies which I will be using them, and I will try to understand what is the effect, or what is the reasoning that the model is going to provide us. So let me copy the first sample and let me paste over here, and then I will go through this particular sample. So I click on the sample button, and now it's thinking the data has gone to the model, and the model is now going to introspect about this particular statement. So let's see what the statement is saying, that working from home has become a common in many companies after the pandemic. While it gives employee flexibility and save computing time, some managers feel that the productivity and collaboration have sufficiently affected. There is also a concern that the new employee do not get enough guidance and mentorship in the remote setup. So this is a statement which I have put forward in context to like a professional work environment, and let's see in context to this what kind of analysis the model is going to do, and that will come right over here. And I said that actually it depends upon your prompt, the way you have framed your prompt. Of course, you have to learn how to frame your prompt, and on that basis the time also will be negotiated. How much data, how many token you are passing from the model is also very important. So this is kind of analysis, because of course over here some claim has been put forward, so we need to analyze that whether this is really going to be good or not. And it has also differentiate statement that in form of purpose, that this evaluate the impact of remote work on productivity, employment, on employee development. It has given us some points that we have jotted down over here which can be considered. Well, I have kept my prompt in a very compact. The reason we are getting limited data, but if I want, I can extensify my prompt, and in that case I will get more elaborate explanation of the statement. So we saw that this is working pretty fine. So let's move on to the next sample and let's see how this particular thing is going to be reflected. Again, this is a different case study, and all these samples I have focused from perspective of different aspects of our day-to-day life. So this is saying that I'm considering buying a car this year. Well, I'm not considering actually, but still, but the fuel price are increasing and maintenance costs are pretty high undoubtedly. Public transport is cheaper, but it's not always reliable and takes more time. I'm confused about whether owning a car is a practical decision right now. So kind of a confusion statement I'm putting over here, where I have got two perspectives and I want to see what my model is saying. I said it's a confusion type of statement, so model has said that this is a type of dilemma, and there is a decision conflict that has taken place, and why this conflict has been there. So because of these two reasons that it has justified. So you can well understand how analytical, how reasoning the Phi-3 model that has been proposed by Microsoft is really working. So let's get into another case study right now, and this is more academics, because as you go through it you will understand. Well, many students believe that the online courses are easier than classroom learning. Okay, that's nice. However, staying motivated without face-to-face interaction is difficult. That's true. And distraction at home can affect focus. That is absolutely correct. So some students perform better online while others struggles to keep it up. Yes, this is also the reality. So after COVID, this kind of scenario has happened, and it's still going on, but there are pros and cons are there. So let me see on basis of this particular case study what my application is going to suggest, and I'm very super excited to see what type of verdict or what type of reasoning the application is going to put forward. And you can see over here again, I'm telling you this is how all the time that we are taking over here is all based on the prompt, the number of token you are passing, the amount of memory you are using. On basis of that, again, these can be all fine-tuned. I have seen there are commands, so you can fine-tune your model, and on basis of that you will be getting much faster response. Well, again, this is an analysis to evaluate the statement perspective on online versus classroom. So here it has very clearly stated that there is a classification going on between the online and the classroom mode of learning, and it has given us some suggestions, some challenges which we can think about. Well, I have got few more, but I don't want to again I don't want to demonstrate these all because they might take some time. So nonetheless, you understood that how exactly my application is working, and this is totally based on local environment. And as I said, the sole objective was not to use internet and to save the subscription, to save the API key, and to interact with my model as many number of time you want. So currently I'm working with the Phi-3 model, but in due course of time I have a plan to work with few other model so that I can see. And I said I'm working with the llama-server. Even I have a plan to work with the llama provided by Meta. That also in my mind, I will see how exactly that also works. Nonetheless, this particular research has given me a new dimension whereby I will now start working more on local based model rather than internet based, because it always has an effect of subscription and the number of API hits that actually matters. Nonetheless, I tried to demonstrate this particular video for all of you, so that you can think about working on this. And if you really want to learn these things, you have to just do a little bit of Python learning, and of course to have a web framework like Django. And definitely if you learn these things along with AI, this has got a real implementation in our day-to-day life. As a developer or as a daily user, you can use it, and it can increase increase your productivity as well. Okay, so that's all from this video presentation. As I said, I will be working more on the offline model, and in my next video definitely I will come up with few more stuff. Until then, have a nice time. Bye bye.